Let's uncover the secrets behind a career with purpose.
Join us as we speak to people that turn their biggest passions into their life's work.
I love it.
And inspire you to become the superhero of your own story.
Welcome to the Purpose Revolution podcast. Our special guest today is Ilyas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Ilyas, to be with us. I would love to start off this podcast with the question, how would someone close to you introduce you?
Okay. That's a very interesting question. I think the first thing that they will remember me for is my love for food. So they'll be like, yeah, this is a guy who loves food. And a guy who has been very different kind of like 5 years back, and someone who's I don't know, I never imagined this guy could be something like this 5 years later, because that is something that these two things that a close person would definitely say, because I was a different life to a different life altogether.
What were you like 5 years ago?
Exactly.
Extremely notorious. Extremely notorious.
How so?
How so? Because I don't know, the principal of my school, he gave me a sweet when I told him that I'm going to transfer to a different school. So he was very happy about it. And I did not know how to react for that.
Bad boy.
Yeah, very bad.
For non-English speakers, notorious.
How would you define it? It's when you're known, right? When
when you're not focused on your studies, when you're always doing mischief all around, troubling
chaos.
people,
You were a chaos
yeah,
creator.
Yeah.
Okay, that was you 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened?
And then personally, I had to move to a different location in my country, and at that point, it was a very unfortunate situation, but it suddenly gave me a realization of I have to look after my family, and this is inevitable, and I don't have a lot of time at hand, and I just have to start becoming a little bit more responsible. So the quotient of being responsible was pretty much zero back, after the situation, then it became pretty good, and that made me more focused towards the big question of what do I have to do in life. Until then, I had no clue. I was just going on with the flow, and I never thought about it. So I was like, and even if someone would ask me, I would be like, I would just skip that question. Let's talk about it later. But I don't want to talk. I want to talk about it now. I'll think about it later. But yeah, that moving from one city to a different city with my mother, it made me realize how important it is, and that I should start thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, how are you now? 5 years ago, you're notorious, and now?
Yeah. Now I'm very patient. I'm calm, and I hold the courage to dream big. And even though I fall a lot of times, I still get back myself up, uh, and I love it this way. I don't aim for a comfortable life. I think my comfort lies in the chaos that is around me. When I work with my startups, when I'm pretty much messed up in the challenges that my venture throws me at, so I feel good about it. And having a good community, I sleep as a happy man. So currently I'm like that. Yeah.
I love it.
So you're comfortable with chaos, basically.
Yeah.
I think in entrepreneurship, it's a good skill to have.
Entrepreneurship is all about chaos.
Yeah, you harness chaos in a different way. I mean, maybe it's not so different that you were a chaos creator when you were younger and then end up creating chaos, but in a more maybe aligned organizational way. It
Yeah.
also makes you some money, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Do you tell us a little bit about that? Because so we did something when we were preparing for this interview. We went and we had some conversations with some people that know you personally,
Okay.
and we wanted to get a bit of a different perspective on you, outside of all the research that we can do online. And one of them, who is your dear co-founder, said that you're the kind of person that we can. If you are a close friend of his and you call him at 3 a.m., he will come, no questions asked.
Yeah.
which I think is a very beautiful homage to you as a person. I was wondering, do you agree with that? And and if so, where does that kind of approach come from?
I definitely agree with that. And I guess there are two main reasons for that approach of mine. One is I've always seen my parents, my father and my mother, going out of their way to uh, do something that can bring in some ease in their life. That I have observed, not very consciously, but now that I think of it, subconsciously, I have seen that behavior in them, and kind of like picked it up naturally. But then the real point where, so when I was, in the early phases of setting up the startup incubator that I'm a part of, and my main role was to work with the idea stage companies, idea stage startups, and I, just so my the founder of Adventure Park and my CEO Miraj, I asked him that, why do you think the startups would even listen to me? Because I haven't done anything big. I haven't done anything. In fact, like I told you, I was full of chaos, a bad guy, and like, what did I even do so that people would even listen to me? And he said, you have to do two things. You have to be very empathetic, and you have to be motherly, and that is the only way through which you will win people, and through which you will be able to create a bond with them. And by being motherly, what I mean to say is that if a child is troubled, the child doesn't have to say that to his mother. Like, a glance from a mother will understand, okay, my child is now in trouble, and she would ask, what's wrong, is everything all right? And you always find that courage, that strength, that comfort around mother, and that is what I have to be. And since then I have been practicing that very consciously, and it has always given me tons and tons of happiness. um, and me personally, I take up my role as a doctor in an emergency ward in a hospital. And any startup that comes to me, that startup comes to me with hope, uh, with excitement, with emotions, and I have to cater to that. I have to respect that. And even when I get a call at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I feel good about it. Because it says that, okay, I have made them comfortable enough that they can count on me. And I know that they are, like, dealing with a very difficult life. Like I said, entrepreneurship is all about chaos, and they fight a lot of battles every single day. And if there's anything that I can do that can bring in some happiness in their life, that is enough for me. And that helps me sleep as a happy man. So yeah, I would agree to that. Uh,
And I remember in one of our conversations, you mentioned that despite also being busy and having multiple businesses right now, you still spend a lot of time with these young people. You give them a lot of your time, and you are there for them. Like, can you talk a little bit more about this?
Yeah. So I primarily work with students who have never been encouraged to think of their career themselves. Uh, there has been several decisions that has been taken for them, and their opinion was not asked, and they kind of like trained to be around, you know. Stability, comfort, safety, that is what they name it, that is what they call it. But in reality, that is you being around mediocrity. And the society kind of like makes you understand, ki, okay, these are the four walls, that you're just not supposed to go outside of it. I understand what kind of a background they come from, because that has been the case with me as well. I don't have any, I'm the first guy to start a business, start a company in my family, and none of my family members understood what I'm doing. In fact, even now, my mother sometimes she asks me, "What do you even do?" And it has been more than 5 years, but she doesn't understand. But
I sell
uh,
cheese.
yeah, yeah.
Something with
So
food.
yeah, so I try to explain, but yeah, doesn't work out all the time. But um, when these set of people they come to me with to work with us, they hold dreams in their eyes, and it's very difficult for them to take that first step, because all they've heard in their life is a set plan, a roadmap that has been created by some ex random person in their family or friends or relative, I don't know. But they're just supposed to follow it, and they kind of actually tend to start to think for themselves. and that's why it's difficult for them to take that first step. And when we spend time, it's like they build that confidence, and that strength within them, and they are able to work on, what they want to work on, despite having so many battles that they fight every single day. uh, Let that be from, their, demographical or cultural or whatever challenges it might be, but they fight that, but they still, get up every single day and give their 100%. And for that to happen, um, I feel, more than, resources or anything else, you need a community, you need people, and you need to have that, that feeling of, yeah, there is someone for me, that even if I fall, that person can help me, be back up. And I just try to be that person, wherein I tell them that, and I want them to fall. I don't, I never, save them from falling. I, in fact, sometimes put my leg in between so that they fall. But and I really want them to
Love
fall,
it.
because I you cannot just be away from reality. In the search of finding stability or security, you're very away from reality. And none of the persons who have made it big in their life, who have created something, extremely valuable, something very impactful, have had a very comfortable life.
Mhm.
Even if you look at Peter, like, just in the morning when he shared the first attempt of, doing SIA, 0 people showed up. Second attempt, 1 person showed up, right? It was not an easy path for him, but, you know you have to go through that, right? You have to go through that phase, and you have to understand that it's not going to be easy for me, but I just have to, be right once,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for to be right once, I have to fall,
A
get
hundred
up,
times.
try again,
Mhm.
fall, get up, try again, and do that until it happens. So, yeah.
There's a nugget of
So
wisdom
many
in there.
questions.
Yeah, but there's a big nugget of wisdom there that I really want to emphasize because this really resonates. It's the idea of deconstructing the mental models that have been ingrained in
Yeah,
you
yeah.
for basically your whole life up to the point in which you decide to start questioning them,
Yep.
right? And that this is in general something that people struggle with heavily,
Yes.
to break down those mental models, to question wisdom. Yeah, we have some extra sound coming in.
Okay.
Great. But deconstructing those mental models and trying to understand at a deeper level what it is that they're meant to be doing with their time, how they should spend their time, and also who they should be spending their time with. What I understand is that you feel that creating a space and creating community is an not just important but a necessary part of the process for allowing those people to have that, to deconstruct their
Right.
worldview, right?
Right.
What deconstructed your worldview? What was that process like for you 5 years ago?
Okay. Mm, so, my friend, when I was in my 11th grade intermediate, he would always ask me, "What do you want to do in life?" And I would answer only with one word, that is a job placement, because, yeah, that was what I have been always advised,
To get a job.
get a job, and for someone who's studying in a commerce background in India, his go-to or dream company is Deloitte. And, just get done with your graduation, join Deloitte. You don't know what you're going to do in Deloitte, but
Yeah.
just be in that office, right?
Become a consultant,
Yeah.
do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Have stability.
Yeah.
Have stability, right?
Stability, right? So, and then he would always question me, what would you do there? And when I started asking myself, and when I was thinking to of, what's the reason for me to join Deloitte? Nothing bad in joining that, nothing bad in doing a job, but why do I even want to do it? The only motivation or reason behind doing it was a paycheck that I would get, that would bring in stability, right? And my dream was being limited to the paycheck that I am expecting to receive from the company, right? If I'm making around
Right.
500,000 rupees in a year from that company, my dreams are limited till 500,000 rupees, right? Something that I can afford in that.
Right.
And I was not very satisfied with that. And when I started trying out different things, I played a lot of esports as well, for around more than 6,500 hours of my life. And I really enjoyed that process. But again, that was leading me to only one motivation behind being in esports, that is, again, the money that it has. And then one workshop that happened, wherein we were talking about leadership and entrepreneurship. I had no clue what entrepreneurship is about. In fact, like, there are no conversations. Like, when I was in my college, there were no conversations around startups, about around innovation. The conversations were very different. It was around, um, I don't know, how do you clear your exams best? How do you get good marks? How do you complete your assignments on time? And how do you get a job? It was all around that. And me being extremely clueless about entrepreneurship, what I thought was, okay, maybe entrepreneurship is about making big money, right? Like, if you look at it in a general perspective. But it opened my eyes when I actually understood the meaning of it. I heard the story of Red Bus on that day. It was 6th of September 2019. When I heard the story of Red Bus, that's a company in India which facilitates online bus booking like Flix here. And the story was very briefly around the founder trying to solve a problem for himself, because he could not get a bus on time to travel from one city to another. And he just wanted to make things convenient, easier for people. And they made a very successful exit of more than 800 crores, after some years of operating and building that company. But the main thing was, Fanindra Sama, who's the founder of Redbus, he never thought about making an exit in this entire journey. He always thought about, how can I make it better? How can I solve it for people? How can I connect, people with easier option wherein they can, maybe go back to their families, right? Traveling is a very emotional thing, and how can I facilitate convenience in that? And he only focused on these things, wherein he built a team. And there were so many jobs that he created. He added so much innovation in the entire process. It was the turning point where the entire system of bus booking changed in India, thanks to Redbus, right? He brought in so much change, so much innovation. And uh, his work has contributed so much towards the growth of my country's economy, right? And those were the real reasons. Those are the real reasons when you're on your journey to build a venture, build a startup, build a company. You're focusing on these things. What problem am I solving? And how am I going to impact lives, touch lives? And just doing a big thing, the right thing, right? Even though the path is very difficult. And
And unclear
y-
also.
yeah, extremely unclear. You don't know.
Yeah.
And with the absence of community, you don't know anything at all, right? And in the beginning, uh, even I questioned this like a lot of times. Whatever I'm doing, is it the right thing? Do I deserve to do this? Am I qualified enough? But then I then realize, okay, let's not talk about qualification, because uh, if I talk about qualification, then maybe I'm just qualified enough to sweep floors. I don't know. Let's not talk about that. I'll learn in that process. But
Right.
yeah, in the beginning it was very tough, because you have no validation of
You
whatsoever.
mean when you already started building your business, right?
Yeah,
And when was it?
in 2019, at the end of 2019,
So was it like you were out of school?
I was still in college. I was
You
in
were
my
still
final
in
year.
college. It
Yeah.
was like bachelor studies, basically.
Sorry.
A bachelor studies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, what about your peers? Were they mainly thinking about going and work at Deloitte, for example, or were they also had entrepreneurial mindset and wanted to do something entrepreneurial?
The ones I met in my college, none of them had it. It was either to get a job or to go abroad for higher studies.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
again, that's another difficult part. Some of them, they tease you when you walk into the room. They'll be like, okay, the next Bill Gates is here, the next Steve Jobs is here, right? They kind
You,
of
they
like,
were talking
yeah,
about you
they
like
would
that.
tease me like that.
Okay.
And okay. And uh, most of them would not understand it. So
Okay.
that happens.
So
But
you were one of the few,
one
basically,
of the
who
few, yeah.
wanted to like start your
Yes.
own thing. And then you basically still studying, and then you're thinking, you find out about entrepreneurship, that something like this even exists, right?
Yes.
Because you didn't know full about it back then. And then you learn this story about the red bus.
Yeah.
And then you find out that, oh, I can make money, but I also can make impact. And
Yes.
build a purposeful venture. And then what happens next?
So we get started. So the person who introduced me to the story of Redbus and to the entire concept of entrepreneurship, Miraj, who I just named a few minutes back, uh, I was very inspired, and I just wanted to be a part of that journey. And wherever any event that he would be a part of, I would just go and sit in the audience. I would not understand anything, but I
Wow.
would just be like, maybe he'll notice me, and I don't know what to do, but I just know that okay, can I work with this person?
Sorry,
Uh,
who was this guy? Was he working at the Red Bus?
no, so he worked with Faninder Sama, who's the founder of Redbus, because
Uh-huh.
he was a part of the government called a body called TGIC, Telangana Innovation Cell. He was one of the 6 innovation fellows selected from the entire state, and he was working very closely with incubators and rural innovators back then. And he was working closely with Faninder Sama, and he shared that story. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, this guy actually helped me open my eyes and answered my question of what I've been asking from so much time about what do I do in life, what do I do in life. Now I understood the purpose of what I want to do, right? Irrespective however the journey may be, but I'm clear towards my purpose, and this is what I want to do. And I was just looking for a chance to do something with him, right? And that is how it got started. And we're the first incubator to be working with idea stage companies plus students from tier 2 and tier 3 colleges. These are not so well resourced colleges in my country, and ideally the most ignored ones, right? The whole focus is just it's clearly our education, and then next batch comes in. So we when he said let's build a place where students from these colleges can come down, they can experiment on their ideas, they can work on their ideas, and we'll try to build something meaningful with them. I asked him, do you really think it would even happen? Because I never spoke about it in my college. My college never spoke about entrepreneurship back then in 2019 20. He said there are lakhs of students there in the city, but even if there is one who we can support, we'll still do it for that one. So that was another a big what do you say, wow factor for me,
Mhm.
moment for me, on him being so principled about how important it is to stick to our the purpose, the
The
values,
values, yeah.
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
what you're setting the company up for. And we got started, we went out to colleges, and we gave students an option wherein we said, if you have an idea, you don't really have to just be thinking about it, just come to this place. We're not going to charge any money. There's no fee as such. You can come, you can brainstorm with us, ideate with us,
Hmm.
build with us, and we'll help you out. We don't and when students even ask us like, what are you going to help us with, I'll be like, I don't have a menu card of what exactly I'm going to help you with, but I can tell you that whatever you require that will help you grow, that is something that we can do. And even if we don't know the answer, we will sit down together and figure out the answer. So we went to 4 colleges, and we understood that yeah, there are students who are looking to build stuff, and they were just not talking about it. They were very nervous, quiet about it. And they came in, and we started working with the first set of 25 idea stage startups in 2020. And then COVID hits suddenly. We started in March, and then from April there was lockdown. So we moved our operations pretty much online. It was
Chaos.
very chaos, very
Wow.
crappy. I don't know what happened.
Again,
Yeah,
chaos.
completely. It's like you're starting something that never existed,
Yeah.
and then COVID hits. Now, for something you don't know how to operate offline, how can you operate it online?
Yeah.
You don't know, but it just worked out a little
Mm.
bit. And then we were able to see that yeah, it is just making a lot of sense, it is taking good shape. Currently, after 5 years, we've introduced more than 300 student-led startups to the ecosystem,
Wow.
and around more than 700 individuals, startup founders from 70 plus colleges across the state of Telangana.
Wow.
There are 50 who are in the market, who have
Wow.
customers, who have a product that is live in the market. We funded around 14 companies, and we were able to create around 70 plus
Hmm.
jobs by these startups. And every one of them started when they were in college, and we just wanted to tell the world that students can build something extremely meaningful, extremely
Mm.
big, and powerful, and just don't underestimate them. And we just wanted to rebuild the respect that we had lost. Honestly, something that fundamental which was missing, of no one expecting nothing from students. You're a student, okay, I have no expectations from you. Just get done with your studies, and maybe let's see what you'll do. But the narratives have changed, the conversations have changed, and I'm so glad that the community, it is not just at my incubator, but it is also in the college classrooms now, college canteens now, wherein the students, they talk about the problems that they are facing and what they can build together, and how they can take things forward. uh, has been that.
You also you talk about young people, right? And
Yeah.
helping them, but you are yourself a young person,
Yeah.
right? And if we talk about like this period of time, it's not so long time ago that you started, but you already help so many and you share your wisdom. And I'm wondering, like, yeah, like when you started this incubation program, how did you know how to help them? And where did you find the confidence to start and to help the young people?
In the beginning, it was all you know uh, craziness, and every time it is just craziness that keeps you going. uh, like I said, I don't think about qualification, and if I'm getting into that, then I'm stuck. So in the beginning, it was just craziness, but you know uh, very thankful that I had the right person with me, Miraj, who had guided me all my life. And I would just sit, observe, learn for the first 1.5 years, and I would shamelessly go everywhere that he went. Where he went, I would shamelessly ask him. If he's like, I'm going for a meeting, I would just simply ask, can I come? He might say no, but even if I'm not asking, the answer is no by default. So I'll rather
Might
ask.
as well shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, yeah, let's do that. And every event, every meeting, I just sat down, I observed, and that is how I kind of started learning. And with every startup that I used to work with, I never advise startups. I'm still very far from that. I have to earn that, I believe. And what I do is I support them, I work with them, I figure out things with them, but I don't advise them currently. And uh, when I was doing that, I was gaining that experience of different industries, different problem statements. And I've been like, I also tell this, that I'm like a thief. I've been stealing knowledge from each and every one of them, and they have been teaching me a lot of things. So it was all about observation, observation,
Mm.
observation, and then slowly the confidence kind of like started building.
Mhm.
But even today, when there is something, then yeah, I definitely get shit nervous.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
it takes a bit of time for me to just calm myself
yeah,
down.
yeah.
But I feel without preparation, you can do nothing. So I always try to over prepare
Mm.
to whatever is there ahead. Yeah.
So probably if we would summarize it, it's all about like learning, but also like not being afraid to ask questions
Yeah.
and to go into the unknown and follow the unknown and see what happens.
Just be confident. It's like, so when there was like a session or something, and was this one thing, I'm not able to remember which exact session or something, but uh, I had to take one. So the one of my teammates, he was like, see, what are we going to talk about? The audience knows nothing about it. So even if you say something which is wrong, they will take it as this is right. So you just be confident. Just don't make them, let them know that what you have said is not making sense. You say that anything with confidence, they'll take it. And I'm like, okay, that is not good to do, but the confidence is the main
Is the
thing.
wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, like you just have to be confident.
Yeah,
And even when I go to some events or something, and it's very closed room, or CXO level kind of a thing, uh, I just find ways to just sneak in.
yeah,
Mm.
What will happen the most, they'll kind of push me out,
yeah,
that's okay.
yeah,
Okay, but I'll just go in with confidence. There were times when events where only high profile people, the minister is allowed to go.
yeah,
And what I did once is that I just wanted to go in to a space newly built, and the minister and his team was there. I joined the team so confidently as if I'm one of the
One of
minister's
them.
friends. And the security did not dare to question me because I like,
Love it.
yeah, I'm just going in. Don't you dare stop me. So
It's all about the
just that.
attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. There's a quote that I really like from an athlete who says, "What you what you lack in strength and skill, you make up for." Well, I'm butchering this. What you lack in
Mhm.
skill and knowledge, you make up for in naive optimism.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
it very
Love
poorly,
it.
but that's the idea,
Absolutely.
and I really like the quote. I mean, it definitely touches on what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I also uh, what you said that really resonated with me is that young people have to some extent lost respect in India, and I'd be curious to hear a little bit more about that, because I think obviously we have a global audience, right? Some people might not be aware
Mm.
of what it's like to be a young person in India. It's also a very big country, right?
Yep.
And I think what's really interesting about your country is that there is a huge amount of entrepreneurs, actually,
Yes.
a huge amount of business owners, but the concept around entrepreneurship, as we kind of have, the more Western understanding of entrepreneurship, this very kind of popularized understanding of, building big ventures that change the world and make a ton of money from it, right, is not something that is so common
Yeah.
in India. And I'd be curious to know, kind of looking at the intersection, right, between youth and between this kind of entrepreneurial culture, how do you see the support that young people are getting from the country, from the community, both at the cultural level but also at the institutional level?
Yeah. So, just to give some bit of context, uh, you can say there has been like eras, uh, an era where everyone used to, focus on building, something of their own. That was very, way back. And then comes an era where everyone was aiming for a government job, in the early 1990s
Mm-hmm.
something. And then an era where privatization came,
What is
and
Erever?
it's
An
like
era,
a decade, like an era,
a time,
a time
Uh-huh.
a
frame,
period in time.
a
Yeah, yeah.
period. Yeah. So one period, everyone were, most of the people, it was very common to, build your own business and get started. Then it was all about getting into government jobs, because that was the booming period of
Right.
that. Then getting into private jobs because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, privatization, globalization
Mm-hmm.
happened. And we kind of like was stuck in that zone, right? Majority of the people focusing and talking just about that, but
In being
in
employed, like
yeah,
getting.
focusing on getting a good job,
Mm-hmm.
right? But times are now changing, right? And they're supposed to, change. And there are set of young people who are exposed to the right information, encouragement, from people around them to do something. But the region where we, kind of particularly focus on, the tier 2 and tier 3 regions, they're not exposed to information like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And recently the times have really changed. A big part of it in my city, I can proudly say that yes, Adventure Park, the incubator, has brought in a lot of kind of impact in that space, wherein we had a lot of students think about building, products early
Right.
in their life.
It's almost like a
But
shift in
yes,
cultural and
yes, the
mindset.
conversations changed everywhere. Anywhere where my, one of my 700 founders would go, people would come to him and ask him what's happening with it, how well are you doing it, what are the
Yeah.
challenges
What
like.
is this?
And
And
yeah,
yeah.
and they take inspiration from them. And it keeps on growing. But there was this again, we know about Shark Tank, but the India version of Shark Tank came
Mm-hmm.
to, India, and that is where the majority of the people,
Found out
uh,
about.
yeah,
Mm,
were consuming content, information around, startups, around companies, around
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
And even that helped, when, not just young, but pretty much like all age groups were, talking about it, discussing about it. It started becoming more, normal to talk about it. And then several institutions, incubators, ecosystems building. Hyderabad holds a very, very strong ecosystem. There are more than 93 incubators that are there to support entrepreneurs from different industries. You are building something in agriculture. There is an incubator that can, that does incredible work in that. You're building something in deep tech. There's an incubator that does, incredible work in that. And with conversations happening more and more, places started to open up. There were more people who joined this, you know, mission of building that space wherein students or young people can come in and they can start, and that kept growing. So it is currently at that phase wherein, yes, now students, earlier they did not have much of an option, but because there was one adventure park, now there are kind of like many adventure parks or many institutions who are talking about, yes buddy, come down, and we can work together and we can see if where we can help you and support you. And the entire ecosystem works in collaboration. It's not like a competition. We're not insecure about any startup going to a different incubator. Why would I be? I just want the startup to grow, and if I'm the right person who can help with that, I'll do. If I'm not rightfully,
Right.
I'll suggest you to go somewhere else.
It's like an
Right.
implicit value set across the
Yeah.
entire network.
Yes. So it's just about that. So places have started building, and it has become much more normal, common. And in that thing, a lot of young people are trying, and failures do happen, but in that process they're learning, they're building that leadership trait in them, they're understanding the importance, they it's humbling them.
Right.
So it's a win-win for
Right.
young people to start.
And what I also find really interesting about the ecosystem, at least if you want to call it that, in India, specifically with regards to social impact award, for example, is that a lot of the people who participate in the programs that we run, they are not from a business background per se, right? It's a lot of people who are coming from science, or who are coming from creative fields, or who are coming from health, or whatever it might be, and they just have like a really deep passion or interest or skill in something, and they want to take that forward. And if you compare it to a lot of other countries, actually it's pretty interesting, because a lot of other countries in our network, the participants come from much more traditionally business backgrounds, rather than necessarily creative, or just like non-business backgrounds to some extent, right? And I think it's kind of an ode to the fact that you guys have been able to like really shift the narrative around what entrepreneurship, in quotation mark, means, as not something that is just about making a lot of money or building a business, but really about kind of finding some level of meaning and purpose in your life, and then doing things your own way, right? Very powerful.
By the way, like, formal education is not very planned in India. It's like, if you're in the medical field, then yes, the student is very clear that I want to become a doctor. But even if you're in engineering field or the commerce field, the student is not clear what they want to be. Right? Maybe they are somewhat they are passionate about tech, and that is why they are in the engineering, IT kind of field. But it's just that, in society, if you're an engineer, okay, that's accepted by the society, kind of like that.
Right.
So and what they wish to build most of the times is very, very different to their academic background, right? And that's the case, that's the scenario. So even for our companies, we have two medicos who have built hardcore hardware products. It was a glucose monitoring system, a sugar monitoring system, without the need for you to prick.
The no pricking.
Yeah, because so these both are doctors, but they learned all the electronics and
Right.
hardware and how things work, so that they can build this. And we just tell the students in a very generic way that you shouldn't bind yourself to, okay, I should be sticking to what my academic background is.
Right.
No, don't think of that. Instead, what you're learning in your academics, think of it, or take it as a skill that you can apply in different scenarios of your life.
Right.
If you're great with tech, see what you can build that can touch lives, that can impact lives.
Yeah.
Right? But don't be like, okay, I've done engineering, so I'm only meant to do IT engineer job. No, that's not
Until
the
the rest
case.
of my life.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
So, what are some of the examples of businesses that people build? Like, I'm just curious to see what are the problems and challenges that they try to tackle in India versus some Western ideas and startups that young people create.
So the startups that I have worked with, that I work with, primarily they solve the problems that they have faced or they have seen their loved ones facing. We have a startup called goodmind.app, and the founder comes from a commerce background, but it was COVID, and she understood that yeah, it is a very difficult time that she's going through, and she had a friend she could talk to, and that is when she realized, okay, I have a friend that I can talk to, but what about others who don't? What do they do? And mental health is such a taboo. The conversations are not so normal in India, and it's starting to become, but it's not something that we talk of. uh, so she was like, how can people approach or understand where can they get help when they
Yeah.
need help?
Yeah.
And it's like a phase where you can't even tell people that you need help. You're either tagged with someone who's crazy, someone who's mad, if you say that my mental health is not doing really well. That's the common understanding which we're trying to change. And that is when she was like, the first idea that she had, no validation, nothing as such, she was like, this is the problem that I faced, and I just want to build a platform that can connect people with therapists
Yeah.
online, so that it is accessible, it is affordable, and I can maybe keep it autonomous. By that, the person can feel more confident. um, in the journey she understood key, okay, it's not easy for people to to convince people to take therapy. They will not. It's very difficult, even though it costs €5, on an average for therapy or counseling session in India. uh, the market just doesn't want to pay for it. They would rather spend 15, €20 in a cafe or a restaurant, but they don't want to spend €5 for the therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we make people more open towards therapy? That is when she brought in an assessment, a very interactive assessment on her platform. People started taking assessments. She would send reminders, campaigns to them, that some self-help tips. If you're not doing well, then that there's a platform where you can go to and you'll find support. Don't feel bad about it. We are there for you and stuff. And then people slowly started taking therapy. But with time, then she understood, okay, how important it is to work in the awareness segment of mental health in India, and more importantly, how important it is to talk about it in the districts, somewhere in the near the rural areas. At least we are talking about it in the city a little bit, right? But in rural areas, it's just that it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's very sad because there are students who are what do you say exposed to drugs, right? Because they don't have that right mentorship.
Yeah.
And there are women who go through what do you say, harassment and domestic violence, and they don't know what to do about it, and all these things, they are just happening,
Yeah.
and there's no support. So that company right now is working incredibly well in the
Amazing.
district phases, taking the support of the district collectors there, local NGOs and
Mhm.
bodies there, and they are conducting these workshops. And they're training first aid, helping people. And they also
Amazing.
built uh, an AI called Tara. It's like your buddy, your help for instant help. Tara will help you, make yourself more calmer, more confident. It will not replace a therapist. It will complement a therapist. It will intervene, and it is trained to be a counselor. It will intervene only till a point where it can. After which, Tara will herself book a counseling session for you, and she's just trying to make it more and more accessible, and what do you say, normalize the conversations around mental health. So there are stories like these wherein there's no connection of their education, but a problem that they are very passionate about. And all the way they learn everything. She learned how to build a product, build a platform. She knows tech. She had no clue about it. She self-learned it, right? Whatever demands for you to keep growing and keep going forward.
Yeah.
uh,
And just that mentality of trying the thing and improving at the thing and just getting up and following the path
Mm-hmm.
of just doing something that you really enjoy deeply, right?
Yeah.
As our conversation comes to an end, um, I'd love to give you the chance to share maybe a thought or a message or whatever it might be that you feel could help someone that is young, that wants to chase a dream, but is maybe not quite, or maybe doesn't quite feel ready to
Mhm.
do so, or feels scared or feels anxious about it? What would you tell them?
I would only say that, buddy, let the society do its job. uh, when I say that, I mean, like, yeah, society is always there to judge you, always there to bring you down. Let them do their job, but your job is not to do their job. Your job is to not underestimate yourself. Your job is to believe in yourself. It might not make sense for a lot of people, but if it makes sense to you, it is definitely worth to give it a honest, put in the honest efforts, give it an honest try. And if you believe in it, you will eventually find people who will believe in it too. And that keeps growing. It is not an easy path. Don't expect short-term trade-offs or instant gratification from this, but understand that great people attract great people. And if you are passionate about what you're trying to solve, you will find people who will connect with you, who will join you. And it will happen, right? It will happen. You just have to give your 100%, an honest effort, an honest try. And or each and every bit of that experience is ultimately going to help you. It is ultimately going to benefit you. It's not a waste of time. It's none of that. Just don't underestimate yourself. Don't self reject.
Mm-hmm.
Just get on it, and give your 100%, right? So that is the only thing that I would say. You don't think about qualification. Don't think about what I know, what I don't know. Honestly, no one knows anything, right? Even if you talk to a person who has built maybe 5, 6, 7 companies, that person still will say that, yeah, I'm learning, right?
Hmm.
Be hungry, be foolish.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how the process is. Like, no one knows anything.
And
And
there's more that you don't know than that you know.
absolutely. And the beauty of the journey is to explore that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy it thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love that.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That was
Well, thank you so much, Ilyas. It
Thanks
was
fine.
so
really a
much.
pleasure.
Really.
And I think there's a lot of wisdom buckets for the audience. So thank you for sharing
Great
those.
Thanks a
conversation.
lot for this
Thank you so
opportunity. I
much.
loved it. I
Of
loved it being
course.
here.